1920 in the state of Oklahoma, represent the 5th district.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we start out with the policy questions and things, I want to ask you a personal question. What was your very first job that you've ever had?
My very first job I ever had, were you talking about in high school?
Anything you consider your first job?
Any high school. Well, when I was in high school, I had some jobs working as an intern at a young girls' correctional facility, and that really showed me how I needed to stay out of trouble.
What did you do there?
I was an intern, and I worked at a juvenile detention home, and I helped on recreational activities for the young girls. My second job was working in a nursing home with the elderly, and my first job out of college was to work in state government, actually, in the state merit system.
Well, let's go back to that very first job, and you said it taught you didn't want to be in trouble with the law. What did you learn personally from that job?
You know, I learned about how people in life can have things that don't always go right and can go astray, and how there are challenges in society with parents who aren't always there for their children, how drug issues can cause people to go astray. Teen pregnancy, I saw a lot of that in the juvenile facility, and just basically students who need more education.
And what did that teach you about either being a lieutenant governor or a member of Congress?
What did it teach me? Well, actually, as I continued on in my role as lieutenant governor and even in Congress, I've actually had the opportunity to go back to that prison several times and to talk to the youth about their future, to try to give them more hope and encouragement that they can get back on track as a young folk and have the type of life that everyone deserves to have.
But did you learn any skills that?
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I went on to work on some laws that affected the state of Oklahoma and dealt with some criminal justice issues when I was in the state legislature many years ago. And I think you just take all those skills, whether it's dealing with society issues of drugs, whether it is crime and prosecution of crime, all those things.
Now, some of those skills, they're saying, and I know you've been very close to Governor Fallin, so they're saying she doesn't have those skills, but what you're describing are, in any of those jobs, you learn those skills.
Exactly. You know what? I think she is highly qualified. When I have actually had the opportunity to be in the legislature, to be in the executive branch for 12 years in Oklahoma as lieutenant governor, and now to be in Congress.
You were lieutenant governor for 12 years?
12 years as lieutenant governor. And as Sarah Fallin is the governor of her state, she's been a mayor of a town in her state, but she brings to her the ability in the executive branch to make decisions. When you're a governor, or even lieutenant governor, when you have like a Hurricane Gustav, or you have some type of crisis, you have to make snap decisions. When you're in a legislative body, you have to, you actually have several, maybe sometimes too much time, years to make decisions on pieces of legislation. You know, I've been very frustrated in Congress that it takes forever to get anything done on some of the core issues that are important to us, but when you're a governor, many times you can make some snap decisions that have to be made. Plus the fact you're working with both Democrats and Republicans in the legislative branch. She has also been the head of like her Veterans Department. She's had to work on the budget. She has veto power over legislation. She's the head of her National Guard as a commander-in-chief there in her state. She's worked on economic development issues, economy, energy issues. She's an expert on energy. All those things she brings to the table. Plus, she's a mother, and she knows how to balance between work and family.
Now, you've also had to do that.
I've also had to do that. In fact, when I first ran for office myself as a young woman in my 30s, after my campaign begun and I was campaigning for the legislature, my husband and I found out we were expecting our second child, which I did not know about, and I decided to stay in my race for the state legislature. And, you know, people said back then I wouldn't be successful. They said I wouldn't be able to balance between family and work. I wouldn't be able to get anything done legislatively. Passed 16 bills into law my first 4 years. Later became the first woman elected lieutenant governor, first woman to go to Congress since 1920. And I say all that to say that Sarah Fallin will balance between family and work. Her children should be fine. My children are 18 and 21. Cross my fingers so far, there's been no problems. My daughter was talking to me last night about running for office because she's seen her mother do that. So I think Sarah Fallin brings all those things to the table.
Now, as a woman who has been in Congress and in the legislature and the lieutenant governor, what do you think the top 3 issues for women right now are?
I think the top 3 issues right now for women are probably the budget economic issues, the family budget, paying bills. I think people are concerned about the direction of the nation. They're concerned about the economy. They're concerned about high gas prices. They're concerned about the cost of food going up. I have 2 teenagers, 18-year-old, 21-year-old. The cost of gasoline really concerns me because we're having more money out of our pockets to pay for that. And I think health care is always a big issue, paying for health care reform, making sure that our children are safe for families. Those are big issues.
And those are issues that I know that you're planning on keeping on working on.
You bet, you bet. And of course, having a job for mommy and daddy is always important to our young folks.
Well, that's very important. Congresswoman, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on Republican Radio Row when we do you again.
Well, thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Thank you very much.